onto this now. The Johannesburg Harriers Athletics Club is rebranding its long-running annual marathon, the Jackie Gibson Marathon, with a new name, and this time around will be known as the Johannesburg City Marathon, and it has ambitious world-class goals. Now, the club is this year celebrating its 120th anniversary and is also one of the oldest running clubs in the country. To chat to us more about the club as well as the upcoming Johannesburg City Marathon, we're joined in studio by Mkateko Mboweni-de Klerk, who is the club chairperson, as well as Natalie Roelf, who is the club spokesperson. Ladies, good morning and thank you so much for your time.
Good morning. Good morning and thank you.
120 years, the existence of the Johannesburg Harriers Athletics Club. Mkateko, let's start with you. As we sort of reflect on the 120 years, the existence of this club, talk to us about the history.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having us on the studio. Johannesburg Harriers Athletics Club, the oldest club in South Africa, started way back in 1900 what? Can't even remember. 1904, somewhere with a very few, members. And this year, as you said, we celebrated in January 120 years of, the club. Started with a few, people, and the Johannesburg Harriers Athletics, it's proud to say that most of the people that have been involved in the club are some of the well-known people that have run the Comrades, won the Comrades, and they even won, some of them, the Jackie, Gibson Marathon that we hosted for 78 years. Last year it was the 78th edition, and of course this year as we rebrand. And the reason for rebranding is because we thought, let us use this opportunity, turning 120 years, we need to rebrand. It will be so befitting to rebrand to Johannesburg City Marathon, hosted by the Johannesburg Harriers Athletics Club.
And we'll speak briefly about the branding in a moment. When you speak about the fact that it's the oldest club, running club in South Africa, how many members are we talking about here?
This year, the members, we are more than 200. And remember, when it started as the oldest club, there were few members, and then it grew and grew. But as South Africa, of course, grew, there were lots and lots of clubs that, emanated, came out, and then the membership, of course, was not growing so much. But now, with, us getting back and saying we have to keep this club going, so we're talking about more than 200 members.
200 members, and I see you've got some popular faces as well at the club. Natalie, let's bring you into this conversation. The rebranding of it all, right, takes a lot of work. It's not something that happens overnight. What is the work that has been happening behind the scenes in rebranding the Gibson Marathon to now the Johannesburg City Marathon?
Firstly, the legalities behind changing the name and getting Johannesburg City Marathon. Quite a few clubs have tried to contend to get the name, but our long-standing relationship as an athletics club has given us the opportunity to get the name. And everything around it, our route has changed. That in itself is an administration difficulty. Just everything is new, so everything had to start from scratch. For 78 years, they've done the same thing, and we've started from one. And I think we've done a great job, and we look forward to what the Johannesburg City Marathon will be.
And the reason behind the name as well, Johannesburg City Marathon, why that name?
As the oldest club in the country, we thought it would be befitting that Johannesburg Harriers have Johannesburg City Marathon. Yes.
Am I correct in saying that this would be the first marathon in Johannesburg? Because I'm thinking about a Soweto Marathon. Soweto Marathon is based in Johannesburg, but would this be the first marathon sort of named after the Johannesburg city? Am I correct in saying that?
Yes. If I may come in there, it will be the first Johannesburg City Marathon. And then the reason behind that name, because we looked at it and we thought, here is an opportunity of having the city to host a marathon. Johannesburg City is one of the biggest cities in Africa, but does not have a marathon. We've got Cape Town, it has a marathon. We've got other cities that have a marathon. Look, Durban we won't come because it hosts the biggest, ultra in the world. So we thought Johannesburg, let's bring back Johannesburg City to its, golden days. And we are hoping will attract, the economy will change. will attract elite, runners. Yes, we do have elite runners in the country, but we want also to be competing with, Tokyo in Japan, Berlin, London, New York. It is ambitious.
That's quite ambitious. Happen. Yeah, because you think about a Berlin marathon, New York marathon, those are world-class marathons, right?
Yes.
So you'd have to tick certain boxes to ensure that the Johannesburg City Marathon falls in line with those kind of marathons, the Cape Town Marathon, of course, which have ticked those boxes. What boxes are you ticking at the moment to ensure that happens?
Now, this is the first start. The advantage that we have is that Johannesburg is known as a world-class city.
Yeah.
Yes. So we'll start ticking the box this year. It might be, a bit small, but next year it's going to be, big. So we'll tick the boxes, and as we say, organizing this race was not so much of a problem for us because we've organized before. Comrades qualified the Jackie Gibson for 78, years, which is fine. So those boxes will be ticked, but the boxes to get us to the London and the Tokyos and, of course, the Cape Towns will come along as we move along. Next year, I promise it's going to even be, big. The route itself, the route is beautiful. I'm sure Nets will talk about, the route, because for the first time, the highway is going to be closed. The M1 highway will be closed.
Wow.
Yes. And so the people who will be running, they'll be able to view the city. Johannesburg has very beautiful buildings. They'll be able to view the city from the highway. They will see our biggest stadium, the Calabash, as they run across. They're going to go through the Nelson Mandela Bridge. So there already, those that did not know Johannesburg, they will see the city as they run.
All right, Natalie, let's expand on that route, right? It's a marathon, 42 kilometers. There's also the half marathon, I believe, as well as a 10-kilometer race. Let's talk about the route. How did you guys go about establishing this route for the marathon as well as the half marathon?
The first thing we need to acknowledge is if we want to contend for world majors, it needs to go past the councillor's office. So starting in Kibble Park, we'll go onto R82, going onto the M1, and there are very few people that can say they've ran on the highway. And I think that's our biggest selling point. And from there, you'll go past Wits offices and into the city, passing number 4 Constitution Hill, the old jail, and going past Wits, all the way towards Jan Smuts, and then going back onto the highway. The half marathon will use the same route, turning back sooner to cover the distance, and the 10 will also go on the same route, R82 and our very famous Calvary Hill, that everyone looks forward to when they were running the Jackie Gibson.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. I actually love the feel of having to run on the highway. Never happened before. But let's talk about attracting elite runners, because that essentially will also lead to the success of the Johannesburg City Marathon, the longevity of it as well, as you guys continue to have great hopes for this marathon. Attracting local elite athletes as well as international athletes. How do you go about doing that?
We're actually very lucky because a lot of the elite athletes remember Jackie Gibson and how well organized the race was. So we've had to do very little in terms of drawing them towards the race, because a lot of them have reached out to us, and I can say that in confidence, asking, so now you're Johannesburg City Marathon, are we still good to go? And my answer is always yes, we look forward to seeing you on the 24th of March.
24th of March in Mkateko, that's the day. Entries open, how do people go about entering the race?
Yes, the entries are open, and the easiest way, if you Google Johannesburg City Marathon online, you just see it comes out, and then you can just follow all the instructions. And then the entries are still open until the 20th. It is the online entries. Late entries will be on the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. There will not be any entries on the day of the marathon. So it's open, yeah.
So it's a week from now, right? The 24th of
Well, we're counting
March.
days now. It's a Sunday.
It's a Sunday, a week from now. What's the target? How many runners do you want to attract?
Well, firstly, let us thank all those runners that have already entered. We are targeting 3,000, but we are aware that, it's a start. So, but that's what we are targeting. We are hoping that by, Thursday, there will be about 3,000. And then next year, of course, it's going to be, big. That's where we'll be starting to tick the boxes and say we're going to 10,000, 11,000, etc. Yes.
I always love conversations regarding the remuneration, the money. What's the prize money, Natalie?
So we thought it would be a bit realistic for the first year. So this year the first prize is stacked at 5,000 Rand for male and female. Is it 10?
10,000.
Oh, nice. Okay, I stand corrected. Yes, it has increased to 10. And then second prize also gets half of that. And we do have prizes for the Grandmasters as well. So the Opens, the Veterans and the Grandmasters, as well as the Juniors. So the kids that, the 16, anyone older than 16 that would like to run a 10K and contend for that, there's prizes for them as well.
All right. And as we, of course, wrap up this conversation, Mkateko, is it true, though, that this marathon can also be used to qualify for the Comrades Marathon later on this year? Explain that to us.
Yes, it is a Comrades qualifier, and people, I'm sure, will see, even when they enter, it says possible Comrade qualifier, and also on our brochures, it's written the Comrades qualifier. So those that did not make it yesterday at the Omdi Dam, and they still have a chance. And this is very nice also training for Comrades. The elevation we must speak about, because people were saying Jackie Gibson was very known for its hectic, elevation. But this one is even more hectic. The elevation is 658 meters. So it will train you very nicely, take you through the hills. And as you know, Comrades Marathon, this year it's uphill. So this one will be a very, very good, trainer for the Comrades.
Right.